ocean of stars. Who first gazed up at it, dreamt that it held the key to humanity's future. How vast the universe must have seemed to them, unending and eternal, filled with infinite possibility. But if only those dreamers knew what I know now.
Star Ocean is probably the most underrated RPG franchise out there, along with Tri-Ace being one of the most underrated RPG developers. Sure, the franchise has had some hits and some misses, but Star Ocean The Divine Force, to me, is a hit. While it is not perfect, it does have some problems such as performance. The game is a magical return to that PS2 era JRPG that we all love. So let's take a look back and review Star Ocean The Divine Force. Tri-Ace developed a pretty unique looking visual style for their games. They first used it in Infinite Undiscovery, and then we got it again with Star Ocean 4 and Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness, which advanced it further. But now we get the Divine Force, which takes what Integrity and Faithlessness did and ups it even further. But it does it in the way of environmental detail and atmospheric effects. One of the best things in this game is undoubtedly walking around the world, seeing the rays of fog and haze cresting over a cliffside as you walk underneath it, or pollen and dust floating through the air. You can see every bit of it. And then at nighttime, when you look up at the sky, you see this beautiful skyline of two planets out in the distance close to each other. And the stars, it's just a stunning visual experience that takes you from dense forest, open plains, futuristic cities, spacecrafts, caves, and mountainous regions. It's an incredible visual journey from start to finish. One thing the Star Ocean franchise always does is combine futuristic worlds with medieval ones, creating this weird blend of technology versus primitive weaponry. And it gives the games an entirely unique feel and look compared to most RPGs. Even with the character models, you have Raymond and his crew that are in space gear with future tech and LED lights across their armor and more modern clothes. Then on the other hand, you have the citizens of the planet that are decked out in armor and robes, and it just looks so completely different to each other. Yet at the same time, they are able to make it look believable that these two groups of people can inhabit the same space. And when it comes to the enemies that you fight in the game, they continue the tradition that has been there since basically the beginning of Star Ocean. Familiar character designs in the enemy department. Birds with big beaks, trees, goblins, it's all there. It's familiar yet different in each game. And it's one of the things that always help these games feel like they are nostalgic even when it's something new. Now, the PS4 version is a bit soft in the visual department, but the PS5 version looks great in performance and resolution mode. You do, of course, have some pop-in and shadow issues, but it's not overwhelmingly bad like some games. I just wonder what Tri-Ace could truly do if they were able to get a budget like Final Fantasy XVI. It's a shame that they are not given that chance. I love combat in Star Ocean games. It's one of the first RPGs to pioneer real-time combat in game, and it's still so much fun to play. Battles are fast, with some powerful abilities to help you knock out your enemies, and each game does something different than the one before. In this one, you get Duma, which has a major role in the story. This device allows you to fly in the air, dash across the battlefield at high speeds, perform blind strikes, preemptive strikes, and overall battlefield dominance. It makes combat and traversal so much fun in this game. When you're wandering about the world, you see these gems lying around that should be unreachable, but with Duma, they aren't. And once you gather enough of them, you can give Duma an upgrade, such as better scan abilities that help you find hidden chests throughout the world, and just making Duma overall better in battle. It is a game changer for Star Ocean. And because of the speed of the movement that is already present in how your characters are, with Duma, you can traverse the landscape quick. You can reach higher places than you can in most RPGs. Fly on tops of cliffs, searching for treasure chests, or just being able to look out over the horizon at the beautiful visuals the game offers. Duma makes this game almost platformer-like at times, and it becomes addictive, wanting to collect all those gems floating around in the world. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it does have some issues with the frame rate. that it should not have. In the performance mode, sadly the game never locks at 60 FPS. And the game never really got patched, which is disappointing. But you can still enjoy the 60 FPS mode for the most part, besides for a couple of areas. Now the 30 FPS mode runs great. I don't recall any major issues running it in resolution mode. Music in JRPGs is one of the best things out there in games. There's just something so relaxing about it. It's incredibly well put together with how they design their soundtracks. They get you amped up at the moments you need to be, and then let you relax and just explore the environment as well. Nobody does music in games like the Japanese developers do, something other developers should learn from. The voice acting in the game is fine, but it does have the issue of lip syncing. It's not synced up very well, at all actually. But if you enjoy Japanese voices and you don't care to read subtitles, that's the way to go if the lip syncing issue bothers you. You have the choice of two different characters to play the game, Raymond and Leticia. One, as I said earlier, is from the medieval world and the other is from the spacefaring world. Each one you pick at certain points in the game allows you to see parts of the story that you didn't get to experience on your first playthrough, depending on the character. Which is great because that gives you an extra reason to play the game more. The game kicks off with you being shot down out of space, forced aboard an escape pod, and landing on an unknown planet. And the adventure is just beginning at this point. Now, this is always the hardest part of a review for me because I don't want to give anything away in terms of the story. So I always feel like I leave so much out here because there's a ton to talk about, but I don't want to ruin it for people. The game is full of political intrigue, but the people of the planet and the kingdoms at war with each other, along with the Federation and Raymond's family, who is a group of merchants. And there are characters that appear later on in the game that has a connection to every other Star Ocean game out there. And she is a Kenny, the same family of Kennys that has been there from the beginning. Star Ocean is a franchise that has always impressed with visuals, great combat, and a great narrative. Despite performance issues, it's the blend of futuristic and medieval elements that create this incredible experience that these games have. Whether you're a fan of RPGs or you're just looking for a new adventure, check out Star Ocean: The Divine Force. And if you can, look up other Tri-Ace titles. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later.